Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon for those that who just logged in from UK. Welcome to our program, The Key to Diversification Episode 18. My name is Mandy Chen, the host of the day, and I'm the head of IQI International Sales. Just a bit background of myself. I've been involved in international marketing for more than 8 years, and myself as an investor, I have invested quite a few properties in different countries. So our program, The Key to Diversification, is designing for those who are keen or yet to explore international properties investment and want to diversify your investment portfolio by hedging against the currencies and inflations, but do not know how to start with it. With this program, we will share with you some of the fundamental investment guidelines based on the countries, the do and the don't when investing abroad. Besides, we will provide some market outlook of the global real estate so that you will have a better understanding of the various property market around the globe. We have running this program for more than 17 episodes, and usually we will invite different panel speakers from various countries whom they are qualified professional or real estate specialists from around the world. And they are able to share with you their experience and knowledge as an investor as well as a professional, also giving some of the investment tips to guide you through your property diversification. Without further delay, let's welcome Mr. Rowan Moore and Miss Harley Williams from Urban Bubble, an award-winning residential properties management agents, to share with us the essential guide on UK property management. Let's say hi to Rowan and Harley. Hi.
Hi guys, you alright?
Yeah, so maybe you could actually introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, sure, I'll go first. So I'm Rowan. I'm currently a mobilisation manager for the PRS, or the private rented sector or leasehold sector of Urban Bubble. I've been with the company about 4 years now, and I've been in the industry for about 8. And yeah, we are currently based in Manchester, and that's where I work and operate out of every day.
Great. What about Harley?
I am currently the operational leasing manager at Urban Bubble, and I look after I work in PRS as well. I've been in the industry for just over 10 years, and I'm currently based in Manchester.
All right. So for those that were just joining us, remember today we are talking about property management, the do and the don'ts, and some of the guidelines and procedure in UK. So if you have any friends who is interested in this particular topics, do invite them to join our program. Okay, or else if you have any questions, feel free to actually leave that in the comment box. After the sharing sessions, we will go through your questions and we'll be able to get either Rowan and Harley to answer your questions. All right, let's start. All right. Okay, so a lot of people are actually interested to invest in UK, especially at this period of time. And a lot of people also not very familiar with the property management in UK. Would you be able to share the general process in terms of the property management, Rowan?
Yeah, sure. So effectively, management of property or residential property in the UK kind of comes into two formats: lettings and management, usually combined and go hand in hand together. So it's management of your asset from the point of sale, so you can effectively market your apartment or your house, whatever the asset is, rent it out through an internal team, and deliver a customer service all the way through, from finding a tenant all the way through to managing that relationship with yourself, and looking after your assets and your investment throughout the course of the duration that you own it. Property management wise, in thinking about specifically regulation and what you need to consider in the UK, there is some things you need to look out for or be careful of in the UK. I would always recommend going with an agent who's been approved or is what we call ARMA or ARLA qualified. So ARMA is a governing body that regulates property management within the UK, of which Urban Bubble is a member. And ARLA is the similar governing body, but for the letting side of that property management.
Great. Okay. As I understand that when it comes to buying and renting property in the UK, they seems to have like two agents and two kind of costings. One from the managing agents called service charge, and the other one is called letting agents called management fees. Actually, what is the difference? Would you mind to share?
Yeah, sure. So when we think about where your asset is, so imagine you buy an apartment in a building. In the UK, you are subject to pay service charge and ground rent, which is usually included at the point of your completion. Sometimes they will ask for the service charge and ground rent monies in advance when you pay all of your completion monies on the purchase of your apartment. Sometimes they ask for, a couple of weeks in advance or a quarter in advance, and then you will pay the remaining service charges. Those costs, the service charge, first of all, goes to the managing agents of the building. So they are appointed by the freeholder of the building, of which you will have a lease with. They look after, the day-to-day operation, the costs for the staffing on site, all of the services that need to deliver and operate that building effectively and efficiently so that your asset can receive the maximum rental yield. In terms of lettings management, that is a different and a separate cost, because everything inside your apartment or ultimately behind that front door, if you were to choosing to rent it out as a buy-to-let investor, needs to be covered by a separate agreement. We're not governed by the same rules and regulations when we manage a building as the same as what we are when we manage an apartment. So it's definitely beneficial for you to go with someone like ourselves. We offer both of those services holistically or hand in hand. So what I mean by that is that our team that operate the building and manage your service charge that you pay to us every year also help manage the lettings and the management of your apartments. So we do it all under one umbrella group, which means you get a seamless customer experience.
All right. Is there any specific locations that you are specialized in this, or you can actually do across the UK?
Yeah, so Urban Bubble operate predominantly in the Northwest. That's where the majority of our leasehold stock is. Manchester was the first city that we operated in, and we manage hundreds of communities across the Northwest. But yeah, we are branching out nationally now with our build to rent schemes with corporate pension funds and things like that for residential buildings. However, we can operate effectively anywhere from a lettings and management perspective, but to operate a building effectively and efficiently, I would say that we stick to what we know, which is the northwest of England, Manchester, Liverpool.
All right. So what kind of other service that do you provide beside the letting as well as the managing side? Any other service you provided when it comes to like probably furnishing the package or whatsoever on the units?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So with the holistic approach that we offer for lettings and management and building management, it means that we employ quite a vast team which can look after all aspects of your asset from the point of sale. And as you've rightly said there, furniture and fit out of an apartment is equally as important in the UK, because a lot of the renters do demand a furnished apartment. It's what we personally value our apartments on. So we will always give you a valuation based on furnished apartments. Sometimes on the point of sale, you might get furniture included in the purchase price. It's not very likely though, so it's something I recommend to always check with the sales team that you're purchasing from. Another good point is window coverings. So that could include blinds or curtains. Sometimes they aren't included in your purchase price as well. We work with specific partners across the country to deliver both of those services. We've been long-lasting partnerships with them, and we would only recommend the best that offer good guarantees on the products that you buy, a seamless installation service. Effectively, once you've paid for those items, we manage the delivery, installation, and the onward maintenance of those furniture pieces or the window blinds or curtains.
So including the wear and tear of the fittings and features as well, right?
Yeah, so wear and tear we can't really account for. So in the UK, if there's a term called fair wear and tear or fair usage. So during the course of a tenancy, if there is substantial wear and tear. For example, I don't know, there's damage, or someone spilled something on the curtains, or there's damage to couch. That would not be fair wear and tear. But if you take a couch that's new from day one when a tenant moves in, and at the end of the tenancy there's some, you know, odd wear and tear on the couch, for example, that would be fair wear and tear, and it wouldn't be covered in the warranty.
All right, great. So usually, how do you charge for the fees? And I know that there's different costs, and also depends on the area, depends on the apartments as well. So are there like different package options available that your company is offering right now?
Yes, we do offer different packages. We have a fully inclusive package that has been put together by our market experts. This includes all of the landlord's needs to let a property as standard. We do have extras that can be added to this. So items like landlords who require us to be to act as a process agent. We also offer a rental guarantee insurance, which covers landlords in the event of arrears. It also helps with court costs. We can always look into tailoring a package to an individual landlord's needs as well.
So even in the events that the investor is not based in the UK, it's probably in the overseas, so I think everything can be handled via emails or just a phone call, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And normally, how do you assure that if, let's say, my asset, for example, is protected during a tenancy, if I choose you as one of the letting managers?
Yeah, so if you choose us as your holistic lettings and managing agents as part of our contract with you, what we do is we offer a mid-term tenancy inspection to ensure that we're checking on the condition of the apartments. We'll do a digital record at the start of the tenancy, so which is what called an inventory report or a check-in report in the UK, and we do a checkout report. Both of those are digital formats for ourselves. Other companies may do it different ways, but we find this is the easiest way for us to ensure good condition for a tenant moving in. Halfway through the tenancy, usually, we'll see plenty of 12-month contracts. So 6 months into a contract, we will do another digital midterm inspection that gets sent to you as the owner to show the condition, and if there's any improvements that need to be made from your side, that we would recommend on those, and we can cost for you to give you quotations quite quickly. If it's items that the tenant is either damaged or is not looking after the property in a sufficient way, we will obviously manage on your behalf and advise the customer or the occupier that they need to improve.
And usually, who will keep the so-called deposit? Is it called deposit in UK, whereby it's the tenant will pay? And normally, how many months you collected, and who will keep these deposits?
Yeah, so the tenancy deposit for ourselves, we take a month's rent. So, for example, if your apartment was £1,000 a month, we would take £1,000 deposit up front before the tenancy starts. It's protected in the UK. You have to protect it by private governing bodies, or what we call third parties, as part of being ARMA qualified, which obviously we are. You must register a deposit either with one of those third parties, or you can hold it in an account which is insured and protected for only for the holding of tenant deposits. You obviously can't use that money to gain any interest. You can't withhold that money unlawfully from the tenants. And the process is very formal. It's it's all certified. The tenant gets a certificate to notify them that their deposit has been protected legally, and it informs them of their process should they wish to claim it back at the end of the tenancy.
Okay, great. And what will happen in the events that tenant decided not to pay rent? I mean, is it usual in UK? I'm not too sure whether is this happen all the time or sometimes. And he doesn't want to vacate the property. So what is the rights of handling this kind of situations?
Okay, so for us as a business, rent arrears are actually very few and far between. We have not even 1% within our business, and we do believe that is due to this holistic approach that Urban Bubble do offer. Because we have community managers on site who speak to the tenants on a weekly basis, so they are, we are aware of anybody struggling very, very quickly and very early on. However, at the start of the process, we actually do targeted lead generation, specifically to our schemes and to attract the tenants. And they have to go through a very robust referencing process in order to be able to actually rent one of our properties. Now, in the event of them, unfortunately going into arrears, we do offer a rental guarantee policy. So it's an insurance that does actually help pay those arrears so that the landlord isn't out of pocket. It does also cover the court costs that a landlord would have to pay.
All right. So for those who just joined us, welcome to our program, The Key to Diversification, episode 18. Today we are talking about property management in UK. So for those who have any questions with regards to this property management in UK, or you own a properties in UK, feel free to give us some comments, okay? Or you have any feedbacks or any doubts or questions, feel free to list down in the comment box, and we will get Harley or Rowan to answer it accordingly, all right? All right, so how about managing the utility bills and all these accounts in terms of the rental payments, receipts, and everything? So in the events of the during the void period, that means there's a vacant during the process, and what do you normally do?
Yeah, sure. So what we tend to do is our clients or our customers usually sign up to our service for lettings and management prior to their sale or prior to their completion of the asset. So when they do complete, they are on that day that they legally complete and they are legally the owner. They are liable for council tax, utility bills like water and electricity from that day. What tends to happen with new developments, if it's a new build investment, letters from those utility providers will be provided to the address. And as the operator in our holistic approach, we manage the building, of course, as we've said. We'll take those letters and we'll sift through them to find out who is our client, and we'll advise the customer, you're liable for this period. So we can notify the utility company that this is the completion date for the customer. They're liable for this period up until the date that we find a tenant to go in. So all we would do on a monthly basis, hopefully our voids are no longer than a month. We always target to keep them on a weekly basis. It's all dependent on lettings, which Hayley, I'm sure, will touch on. But effectively, we will share the meter reads if we need to with our on-site team. So the team that we operate on site will take monthly meter reads or weekly meter reads if that's what's required by the supplier. And then that's how you can pay your bills more efficiently. For gaps in between tenancies, where we have an outgoing tenant and we have a new incoming tenant, we always target and aim for a 3 to 5 working day turnaround. So you should never really have a void of more than 3 to 5 working days with us. That's our target. For those days, you're obviously liable for, again, the utilities and the council tax. In Manchester, there isn't a relief for void periods for council tax. So again, we would just simply notify the council on your behalf, provide them with the date range for the outgoing tenants and the incoming tenants, and they handle the rest and contact you directly with what's due for the days, usually a pro rata amount. And it's exactly the same for electricity and water. The usage in those 3 to 5 days is going to be very minimal. If we've got any viewings in between those void days, obviously we go in and switch the lights on and we put the heating on to make it more welcoming for people. But yeah, effectively, you should be very minimal bills, but we do it all for you and advise you what's due and when it's due.
Okay, so normally the proceeds for the renter is like net of all these expenses, and you will actually transfer it or bank it to the account. Is it necessary that as an investor, do they need to open an account in the UK, or you can just transfer any amounts to any form of currency in different countries? Normally, what is your advice?
Hayley, what do you think on that one?
We can transfer funds into any account. However, what we do find is that if they do have a UK account, the money can actually be in there within a couple of hours, whereas it can take a longer process, anything up to 10 days when we're transferring internationally. So we would recommend a UK bank account if possible.
All right. And then what about if you were to manage the tenancy, and the tenancy is usually I would say six months to a year, right? The tenancy period. And do you actually help to assist in terms of the rent price increase in line with the market's rates and all these things?
Yeah, so we have a clause. We've written a clause into our tenancy agreements, which it allows us to carry out a rental increase every 12 months, and that is in line with RPI in the UK.
Okay. So is there a best practice guide for landlords to buy a landlord insurance? Is it a common practice in UK?
Unfortunately, I can't give advice on insurance. However, we do work with credible insurance companies that we can obviously recommend. We do recommend that landlords take out insurance, and we also recommend to any tenants that they take out contents insurance to protect the landlord's assets and furniture that will be in the property. And we do offer the rental guarantee insurance that we spoke about a little earlier.
Okay. So, what should they look out for to avoid any issues happening with regards to this landlord insurance? What kind of terms and conditions they need to look out for when it comes to signing all this insurance package?
It's very difficult to advise, again, because we can't advise on it. It's very difficult to answer that question. I just recommend that they have thoroughly read every all of the terms and conditions. If they're unsure of anything, then obviously please do get in touch. We'd love to help, and we can explain any of the terms and conditions to them. And try and give them some guidance where possible.
Okay, so when you talk about the rental guarantee insurance, are you saying that in the events that the tenant couldn't pay up the rent, the insurance company will compensate it? Is that the way?
So what the rental guarantee is, it's a policy that's put into place in case the tenant doesn't pay. And then what will happen is that is then valid from the day that the tenant doesn't pay rent. The landlord doesn't lose out. The rent will actually continue to be paid, and they will then serve the correct notices. They will then go through the eviction process to evict the tenants, and all court costs will be covered under that policy.
Oh, so that will be borne by the insurance company. Yeah. So in other words, we'll safeguard those landlord in the events that they meet some bad paymasters tenants, right? And normally, is this cost a lot? Will this insurance policy cost a lot?
No, it's normally we normally charge 2% extra on our management fee for the rental insurance policy. So it is highly recommended to obviously take out.
Okay. All right. So okay. Another question is like, can urban bubbles help support with the UK tax exemptions or the HMRC applications on the rental income generated from the investments?
Absolutely. Unlike other high street agents, we actually have an investor coordinator team who are multilingual and will assist with any of these documents. They'll support and give guidance to help complete the forms. Unfortunately, we can't complete them for the landlord as they require a signature, but we will assist through the whole process and be there to help with any questions.
All right. Okay, there's a question coming up based on your experience as you all have been in the market for many years already. Normally, it's like as an investor, if they would have bought 1-bedroom apartments or 2-bedroom apartments, roughly how much is the furnishing package that you're talking about? How much they need to spend on either 1-bed or 2-bed apartments? Is there a standard guidelines for that?
There isn't any standard guidelines as such, Mandy. But what we would recommend is quality. I mean, what we've seen across a lot of the schemes that we've launched, specifically in Manchester, is the rental market demands a higher quality. If you want us to achieve a good rent for you and a stable market rent, you need to provide us with quality furnishings. We can guide you on that. And as I said before, our UK supplier base that we have come with reputable warranties. They are nationally renowned companies that we partner with. We have great relationships with their sales team, their interior designers, their install team, delivery team. But I'd say price-wise, 1-bed, it's so hard to advise on a price depending on the supplier. But what you will find is when you buy furniture in the UK, there needs to meet a certain set of British safety standards. As a minimum, we've had examples in the past where clients have purchased furniture from other countries and had them shipped to us, and we've obviously had it installed as part of our management offering to you. But it doesn't come as British safety standard or British safety assured with a stamp on it. So always be sure to have that. One of the main aspects for that is because it needs to be fire rated to go into our building. So if we operate a building and we manage the apartment and the investment for you, we will always ensure that the furniture that goes in is appropriately fire rated. There is some very strict guidance and legislation around what can be provided to a rental property in terms of soft furnishings like furniture or blinds and window curtains, window coverings.
And usually, like from the day that hand over the units, how long does it take for all these furnishings, packaging, everything to be in place before they can actually list out the units? Normally, it takes how long to prepare all this?
Yeah, so the way we do things, our process is that at the point of you signing up with us for lettings and management, which is usually prior to your completion on your sale. And don't forget, if we're not collecting any rent, we're not charging you any fees. So all the work that we do for you prior to your sale or prior to the purchase is free. And part of that is we will introduce you to our preferred furniture provider, of which you can reserve a furniture pack to be installed ready for day one of your completion. So we work closely with the developer and their sales teams as our holistic approach to understand what your expected completion date is based on your circumstances, whether you're a cash buyer or whether you're lending money from a provider elsewhere. If that's the case, we can have the furniture, blinds or curtains installed literally within the first week of your apartment completing on the purchase. Unlike other agents who don't have that benefit of working directly with the developer and working directly with the sales agents, they would, come down, do a valuation on your apartment. Maybe that takes a couple of days for them to finalise and, do the formalities. Then they'll get a quotation from a furniture provider. You could then potentially be looking anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks lead time on furniture. So we always recommend getting early in choice for your furniture choice and putting a deposit down, or even if you're prepared to pay it all in advance. The providers we work with, if you don't complete on your purchase for whatever reason, you are fully refunded for your furniture pack. So you can buy it with no risk, zero risk furniture purchase, and as I say, it will be refunded to you.
Would it be a case that's like probably the first tenants that have occupied the units and with all these furnitures and all these things, then second tenants come in and say that, look, I don't like these furnitures and I request to change. Is there such circumstances happened before? Or normally what is your advice?
Yeah, so this does happen, and in this instance, it's I don't know. Rowan, have you got?
I suppose it's like anything, isn't it, that you buy? I mean, at the end of the day, if we're trying to market your property, and we get to a point where the new incoming tenant has requested some additional items, or maybe they don't need the second bedroom as a bedroom and they need it as an office or a walk-in wardrobe, what we would recommend is to always be flexible and be open to that negotiation and discussion with us, so that we can help you achieve the maximum rent and return on your yield. We have done that previously. So, for example, like that example I'll just give you with the two bedroom apartments, maybe it's a young couple who are moving in, and they're not two people sharing, and they want the second bedroom for extra space, for wardrobe space. So our furniture providers, if you're the first tenant moving in, we can actually remove that brand new furniture, receive a refund for the part of the furniture that you've purchased as the landlord. That's obviously a little bit tougher to do for the second tenant or the second term, but what I would say is always to be flexible. The alternate option is that we can actually say to the tenants, that's no problem, Mr. Tenant, we can accommodate that request for you, but you need to store those items of furniture on behalf of the landlord at your expense. That's another option that we can do if we need to be flexible to rent the apartment out.
Okay, with the current situations with the pandemics is going on, is the rental been affected, or has been like increasing or decreasing? So what is the status right now?
We haven't actually seen a decrease in rental values actually at the moment. I mean, the market has been a little bit quieter in the recent month due to us obviously being in a national lockdown. However, coming out of that national lockdown, what we have seen is a huge increase in inquiries in this past week. So no, in the long answer is no. We haven't seen any issues with rentals coming down.
Not even on the vacancy rates that has been increased. I guess it's still doing all right in UK right now, right?
Yeah, I know the buildings that I look after are doing really, really well and demanding the rents and are keeping those rents, which is fantastic.
Yeah, what I would probably add to that, Mandy, is that with the flexibility that we offer as a holistic agent, we always recommend and discuss with our landlords on a weekly basis to keep them updated with market trends. So we will advise them what is happening throughout the year, to advise, how many people are searching for properties to rent in our specific cities that we operate in. And that knowledge that we provide to them helps us make an informed decision together. We will always come to landlords or come to clients and advise them on the best course of action depending on the time of year. There is obviously down periods throughout the year in the UK. December into January, because of the festive season, not many people in the UK like to move around. Everyone likes to be kind of settled, ready for Christmas, and enjoy the festivities. Whereas we start to see things ramp up again at the start of the spring and into summer. It's obviously quite busy. So yeah, that's just something to add there to that.
Okay, there's a questions that coming in. It's like, in the event that if I decided to sell my apartment and I'm tied up into a certain period of with my management's company, so what is your advice then? I decided to sell, but I'm still tying up with the tenancies and with the management's company. So what should I do?
So they decided to sell the asset,
yes,
but they're retaining the lettings and management contract.
So it's just like probably I signed the letting management for 6 months, and before even 6 months,
We've got a tenant in situ.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah. So you can do the set. You can do the. Correct me if I'm wrong, Haley, but you can do the sale. Included in the sale, it would pass over to the new owner. So as part of that sale agreement in the UK, you can advise that I have an in situ tenant who's paying X amount of rent on a tenancy agreement that lasts 12 months. And this is my managing agent who initially found me the tenants. It's up to the new owner if they wish to continue that contract, I believe. And if they want to use a new agent, they can do. There is no, obviously, the obligation of the selling landlord isn't to pass over the agent also. So
there won't be any so-called penalties or in the events I terminate earlier of this agreements and so on and so on, right?
No, because a notice is just we serve a specific notice to the tenant to advise of a changeover in landlord, so that there wouldn't be any penalties, and you can sell a property with a tenant in situ.
Okay. And there's another question is like, should tenants always pay a deposit directly to landlord so it can be put into a protection scheme, or is it on the bond scheme? Whichever is acceptable.
It's paid directly to us. It's paid directly to the letting agent, Mandy. So when we collect the move-in monies prior to the tenancy starting, which would be a month's rent in advance, the deposit, which is usually a month's deposit, like we discussed, a month's rent, and any other associated fees. But there isn't any in the UK at the moment. There's no other fees. They might pay a small reservation fee, a holding fee, just to secure that apartment. But that comes off that small. £200 usually, isn't it, Hayley? It comes off the first month's rent, but the deposit is protected by the lettings agent. It doesn't go directly to the landlord. It goes into an account which we hold. For in our instance, we hold an account with various governing bodies like the DPS or the TDS, Tenancy Deposit Scheme.
And normally in UK they actually pay by monthly basis, right? The rental instead of weekly, right? Because certain countries they pay by weekly basis the rental.
It's usually monthly, isn't it, Hayley? Yeah, we see it kind of depends on the scheme. We have operated schemes where we take weekly rents, and that would probably be evident more in the student market that we've operated in. They tend to pay weekly and offer for anywhere between 48 and 52 week contracts.
Okay. So let's see. Is there any other questions from the audience? If you have, please put down your questions. We will try to answer it. Okay, if not, what is your last advice to all our audience tonight?
You can go first, Hayley.
Or what is the do and the don't when it comes to property management?
Obvious advice would be to give Urban Bubble a call, which would love to give you some advice. But in all honesty, please just make sure you choose an ALA registered agent, as Rowan has said, and just to make sure your assets are looked after. Just make sure you choose wisely and get as much advice as you possibly can on everything that you do. Yeah,
and mine would probably be always work and trust and go with a reputable developer. Buy quality. Don't be if you're sitting in the middle ground about spending an extra, I don't know, £10,000 on something between one product and another. If you can go and touch and feel and engage with that developer and understand the construction team and their position, we have the fortunate position to be able to work with two of the best developers in Manchester right now within Property Alliance Group and Salboy. Both have reputable construction firms that work for them. So I would always do your research in that sense and recommend choosing a good construction company and a good developer. And if you can go and visit, definitely do that and experience what they have to offer.
Of course, I think the most important thing is to engage the most trustworthy and professional property management or letting management you can, because it actually gives you the hassle-free that you without any panic or headache, especially for overseas investors, that you want a peace of mind when it comes to investment. So you get a professional, you engage a professionals, letting management to handle your properties. So I would say that is really very important as well. Okay, the other last question is there any credit check of the tenant? Would you do any credit check?
Yes, we do. So that does form as part of our robust referencing process. There is a credit check undertaken, and that is one of the very first things that we do before we even consider any other referencing. The credit check is done as the first port of call.
Okay, in fact, there's some countries that where the property management agents or the letting management agents, they do charge some of the advertisements fees when it comes to advertise the units to let out and all these things. In UK, is it the same or different?
Depends who you operate with, Mandy, or who you choose as your lettings and managing agents. We don't. Our fee is all built into one. It's nice and straightforward and simple. All of the work that we do to find you a tenant, marketing wise, website, social media, Rightmove, which is the UK's leading property search engine, all of that is effectively free. You're not paying for any of it, and we only charge you when we find you a tenant and we collect rent. If we don't collect rent, we don't get paid.
Oh, okay. And roughly what kind of fees that is involved when talking about property management? Is that a percentage that you charge or on the renter on a money basis?
Yeah, Hayley.
So it works out at 7.5% plus VAT is the management fee that we as Urban Bubble, that's what we charge, and then it'll be if you did choose an added extra, then it would potentially be an added extra fee, but that is our management fee.
Yeah.
Okay, only 7.5 plus the VAT plus whatever tax, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which obviously we don't make the VAT, so it's 7.5%.
Yeah.
So 9% Inc. VAT as a monthly charge. It's we're currently under the average for the Northwest on our management fee for our holistic approach. There's also a flat fee that comes out of the first month's rent as well, and because we can't impose tenant fees anymore in the UK since 2018, there's a small, what we call a new resident find fee. That's 400 plus VAT at the moment, so £480, and that covers, it covers the referencing checks, it covers the guarantor if a guarantor is required for the tenants, it covers the registration of the deposit, it covers unlimited viewings, unlimited marketing on all of our channels that we just discussed. So yeah, that's a pretty small thing. Yeah.
So regardless like how big the apartment is, whether 1 bed or 2 beds, the standard fees for that.
Correct. Yeah.
So normally, do you handle a lot of overseas clients?
Yes, we do. Yeah, a lot, all over the world. Personally, the portfolio that I'm working on currently, we have customers a lot from Hong Kong, a lot from China, Malaysia, a lot from the Middle East, so Dubai and Saudi Arabia, Kuwait. We see quite a lot of customers as well. And yeah, as Hayley said, we have a centralized investor relations team or investor relations coordination team, and they're multilingual. So we have people that speak Mandarin, Cantonese, Taiwanese. We've got people who can.
Great.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's about it for the questions. In fact, thanks a lot for your insightful information, and I believe that our audience will benefit a lot. And should you have any questions, feel free to actually put in the comment box. In the events that we can't answer you, we will actually come back to you. Or later on, we will put Hayley and Rowan's contact numbers or email address. In the events that you need their service, you can always contact them directly. All right. So thank you very much for your sharing today. So we hope we can actually work together in the future, and we will recommend more of the clients to engage your service as well. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thanks for having us, Mandy.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.